Australia once declared war on birds, not metaphorically, not as a joke, an actual military operation, with actual soldiers and machine guns. The enemy? Emus, giant flightless birds. And somehow, Australia lost. Imagine you're a farmer in Western Australia. You've spent months growing crops, you've worked through droughts, you've invested everything into your farm. Then one morning you wake up and 30,000 emus are charging across your fields. They're eating your crops, destroying fences, trampling everything in sight, and there's basically nothing you can do about it. These aren't small birds. An emu can grow nearly 6 feet tall. It can run over 30 miles per hour, and when thousands move together, they become a feathery natural disaster. Farmers were furious, and they wanted help. The farmers complained so much that eventually the Australian government stepped in. Now there were lots of possible solutions. More fencing, more hunting, better crop protection. But somebody had a different idea. What if we sent the army? So in late 1932, soldiers arrived in Western Australia. Their mission was simple: reduce the emu population, and they brought military-grade machine guns to do it. The soldiers probably thought this would be easy. A few days of work, a few thousand birds eliminated, mission accomplished. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. The soldiers spotted a huge group of emus. Perfect. They set up the machine guns, waited for the birds to get close, and opened fire. The result? Chaos. The emus scattered instantly. Instead of one giant target, the soldiers suddenly had hundreds of fast-moving targets sprinting in every direction. Most escaped. The soldiers were stunned. These birds weren't standing still like targets at a shooting range. They were fast, really fast, and they seemed impossible to hit. The war had lasted only a few days, and already it wasn't going according to plan. The soldiers tried new tactics: ambushes, roadside attacks, different firing positions. Nothing worked consistently. The emus would split into smaller groups. Some even acted like lookouts. One group would spot danger, the others would run. Whether they actually coordinated or not, the soldiers started talking about them like military units. One officer later joked that if he had a military division with the toughness of emus, it could take on almost anything. The birds kept escaping, the crops kept getting destroyed, and newspapers started paying attention. People couldn't believe what they were reading. Australia's military was struggling against birds. At one point, the soldiers mounted a machine gun onto a truck. The idea was simple: drive after the emus and shoot them while moving. Sounds clever. In reality, the truck bounced across rough farmland. The gunner couldn't aim. The emus outran them. The entire thing looked less like a military operation and more like a comedy sketch. The birds were winning. Again. After weeks of effort, the operation was called off. The military had fired thousands of rounds, but the emu population remained huge. The birds were still everywhere. The crops were still suffering, and the government quietly ended the campaign. Officially, Australia didn't surrender, but unofficially, the emus had survived, and survival was all they needed. Today, the Great Emu War has become one of the strangest stories in history, not because the birds conquered Australia, not because they took over cities, but because a modern military expected an easy victory, and discovered that nature doesn't always follow the plan. The next time someone tells you history is boring, tell them about the time a government sent machine guns to fight birds, and the birds won.